Couldn't be more excited to be here today in the rec room with Mr. Patrick Woods. For those of you who don't know who Patrick is, you are going to find out. One of the top team leaders in the world, national sales trainer, unbelievable amounts of wisdom headed your way now. All right, and we are back. I couldn't be more excited to be here with Patrick Woods, who's become a friend of mine, coach of mine, somebody who I admire, and somebody who, if you're in the real estate world, you know this guy's name. So if you don't, today's your day. So Patrick, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. No, it's super fun to connect with you here. I know you've had a big impact on me and my thinking and my business over the past year or two, and I know that I'm not the only one that's having that experience. More and more I'm seeing you with just the big names in real estate and on national stages really teaching some powerful content. So thank you for joining us today here in the rec room. Really a special treat for the realtors of the Portland, Oregon marketplace. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So for those of you who don't know Patrick, I'm going to give just a couple highlights of his bio. And I'm going to ask him to talk a little bit more about it. Even though he's a very humble man, I'm going to pull it out of him. That was part of our contract, part of our deal, is that he needed to talk a little bit about what gives him, kind of the credibility to speak on the things that he's talking on. So Patrick really came out of the .com world. He's got a great business mind. Got into real estate. How many years ago, Patrick?
Gosh, I got in 2002.
Okay, 2000. Okay, great. 2002. Got in the business. Quickly realized that not only was he a great realtor, he was a great leader. And I got pulled into some leadership opportunities and actually ran the highest producing Keller Williams office in the world, right? Over 500 agents, is that right, Patrick?
Yeah, at the peak it had over 500 agents. We did about $1 billion in sales annually. It took us 2 years to get to that point, and then it's still doing that today.
So how many agents? I believe I had read 1,400 agents you had recruited at one point. Is that number right? It's
debatable. It's somewhere between 12 and 1,700. So
okay, somewhere right in the middle.
So a few.
Pretty impressive. It's interesting that Keller Williams obviously has become synonymous with bringing agents to their to their company. But any brokerage out there that says that they're not a recruiting brokerage really isn't a brokerage for very long, are they?
No, and it's funny because we used to always get picked on for, they're the recruiting company, and lo and behold, now everybody is recruiting.
Right.
If you're not, it's just like a sales business. If you're not growing, you're going the other direction. And the companies that are not actively seeking out new and emerging talent and recruiting, producing talent to their team, they have a shelf life.
Yeah.
Just the reality. Like
any business, right? I mean, here in the Pacific Northwest, we're Blazer fans. And every year, even though, we have an all-star on our team, we're constantly looking, who else are we going to recruit? Who's it going to be that's going to help take us to the next level? Mm-hmm. And like you said, any organization in a free market cannot survive, definitely can't thrive, and won't survive without great recruiting. So awesome to hear about that. We'll maybe dive into that a little bit deeper, but let's talk a little bit more about your bio. So not only have you been in big leadership roles, but you've also run very successful real estate teams. Tell us about that, what that looks like right now. Maybe even your team. I know you're building a new team, which is exciting because you stepped into leadership roles. Now you're stepping back in also to help build team and lead agents directly on the ground. Tell us maybe why you did that, why you chose to get back into the real estate industry, and like what your favorite part about that is.
Gosh, it's funny. When I got into the leadership role of running brokerages, it was tons of fun, tons of growth, and I always missed that feeling of the boots on the ground, building a real estate team. I was watching all these people who were up on stage at mega camps, family reunions, other events, and just seeing what they were doing. I don't know, it just created a lot of energy in me. And so I decided, as I phased out of being a team leader for Keller Williams, that was the one thing that I wanted to launch, was a real estate team. So I actually launched one with a friend of mine. And after about a year, we had done 60 transactions. So in the first 12 months of running the team, about 60 transactions, $20 million in sales. And then I decided to go a different direction, sold the team off to him, and I missed it. And so here I am again.
Yeah, there's when you find a passion in life, right? It doesn't mean you can only have one passion. When you find a passion and life pulls you in a different direction, it's hard to not come back to it.
Well, it's funny. I went on vacation, and I had just sold the team off, and I was on vacation. I went to an event, and I just went, man, I miss it. And I actually signed up for a lead generation platform while I was on vacation. I didn't have any agents on the team, and all of a sudden I'm on vacation. I'm starting to get 10 leads a day. And that kind of was, I put the cart ahead of the horse, and that kind of caused everything to snowball and compound from there.
Do you mind sharing what was lead generation platform that you subscribed to? And
Sure.
if it's the same one, which one are you using now? Or if it's not the same one?
So on the previous team, we used Boomtown, love Boomtown. In this new team, I decided to go the Commissions Inc. route.
Okay.
So far, I mean, I've been on there almost a year now. I love it. And it's been providing a lot of leads, which obviously the agents on the team love. It gives me something to recruit to. Obviously, we can close transactions from it.
Yeah.
High level accountability. I think it's just a matter of picking a platform that syncs with your operation, and something that you can track the team members' business and their activities from.
You had mentioned that a lot of your business still comes from repeat referral business, even though you've got great lead generation coming from, your Commissions Inc. and your online sources.
Yep.
The heartbeat of your business is still referral. Tell us maybe why that's so, and why you are committed to continue to do it that way.
Well, I think it's a couple things. One, just to be completely candid, I think the internet lead generation, obviously there's a lot of value in that. And one of the values I see from the internet lead generation is it creates an opportunity to attract talent to your team. Mm-hmm. It creates a discipline on how we follow up with leads, how we nurture them and cultivate them over time. Mm-hmm. And obviously it creates closings. All of that translates into how we're running our open house leads, our sign call leads, our sphere of influence leads, our circle prospecting leads, everything. I believe that the teams that can marry the transactional side of the business and the relational side of the business are the ones that are going to own the market. And with all the technology that's coming out right now, I think that's the massive piece that we all have is our relationships. And so it's no surprise to me that people are getting a lot of the business on the team from their relationships. And then how do we put the systems and the technology behind that to help them maximize the return on investment from their sphere of influence?
One of the interesting byproducts that you pointed out that I hadn't realized is that when you have a lead generation source coming from the internet, mm-hmm. it forces you to be probably a little more urgent and a little more even punctual, a little like your T's are more crossed, your I's are dotted, which only helps, even if the foundation of your business is still repeat and referral, there's some refinement to the way your operation works when you are dealing with people that are strangers. It's like the way you were to show up with your wife on a date after being married for 20 years to the way you show up on a first date is going to look slightly different. Mm-hmm. Hopefully not too different, right? But it's almost like treating every date like a first date, I would imagine, helps that guy that's 20 years in marriage have great relationships. Maybe it's kind of similar analogy there?
Possibly. The thing that we noticed back a little over a year ago is that we started outsourcing the lead follow-up from these leads would come into our platform. We'd outsource to another company to have them follow up with these leads within 5 minutes or less during a set period of hours. And what was interesting is we watched the productivity of the agents on the team across the board go down because we took away something that was instilling good habits. So I'm not saying that we don't want ISAs and all that stuff. We just don't want to take away things that are creating good habits that are going to apply to every other aspect of their life.
Interesting.
So it's no different than, if you're really relentless on going to the gym and taking good care of yourself, that's probably going to play into how you run your businesses. Probably going to play into a lot of other factors in your life. And that's what we saw was the way they followed up on the internet leads played into how they treated the other aspects of the business as well.
Interesting. Kind of going down that vein, obviously you've taken part of your really business and presence now is teaching people stuff that's beyond real estate. I do want to circle back on some more real estate specifics, but I think maybe this is a great segue, which ties in a couple of things. Number one is how you were able to recruit people at pretty mass scale and quantity. Obviously, Keller Williams has a pretty powerful value proposition, yet you were still able to convince people that they needed to give up wherever they were at, wherever they were being treated well, probably, right? Most brokers are treated pretty well.
Most people are happy where they currently are.
Right.
They're not unhappy.
So I would imagine part of your search for people was looking for people that had good habits, like in life, et cetera. How did what you just shared right there about having good habits, how did that help fuel your recruiting efforts to where you were meeting with people that you actually wanted to have in your brokerage?
Well, yeah. Interesting question. I don't know if this is going to be a direct answer. The thing that when I'm looking at, it's no different than a real estate agent. It's filling the pipeline so you have an opportunity to choose who you go into business with. Right? If I'm going on one listing presentation over the course of a month, I'm likely to compromise my standards in order to get that business because I need it. It's no different than when I'm attracting people to my team or attracting people to my brokerage. If I have more appointments, I get to choose who I go into business with.
Yeah.
And what I'm typically looking for, it's not, obviously in a brokerage, you want more production. So people that have listings and are closing deals, we'd love to have them on there because it creates market share and revenue and all this stuff. The thing that I looked at more than that was character, integrity, and what their goals, dreams, and aspirations were, and were we a vehicle to help them accomplish that? So if they were a brand new licensee and they were looking to do X, could we help them get there? And did they have a passion around that? If they're a $10 million producer and want to be a $50 million producer, if they're a $50 million producer and want to be a $100 million producer, that's what I was looking for, was that drive to want something bigger. And this is the big passion for me, is everybody gets into real estate because they have a big vision and dream for their life. They didn't get into it saying, hey, I hope I can make $20,000 a year doing this. They get into it because they want the freedom of their time and the unlimited income opportunity. And they can do that in a brokerage. They can do that on a team. They can do it as a solo agent. It's just a matter of what position are you in. It's no different as a sales agent. If I'm a solo agent or I'm a team, how am I positioning myself to be the person or the company of choice that people want to do business with to help them accomplish their goals?
And then you're obviously looking for people, like you mentioned, that are actually looking for something more. You know, I would say probably my business and the title industry works very similar. If people have exactly the life that they want and the business that they want, if there's no pain or at least perceived pain, there's no aspiration for anything else, I probably don't have a value proposition that's going to be worthwhile to them, and they may not be my kind of people. Like I'm as are you, pretty driven, have a pretty big vision of what we want to do, and those kinds of people likely just aren't a fit, right? So part of your search is looking for the hunger in people's eyes, saying, I did get into this business because I have big aspirations and I'm not there yet. Can you help me?
Yeah, it's definitely, they're looking for, they have those aspirations. Again, it's day one, they just got their license, or it could be their 20th year and they are still looking for something more, or they've lost sight of what they're looking for, or what's their exit strategy. There's all kinds of, it's just getting in, knowing the person, what they want, and is your opportunity a vehicle for them to accomplish that.
Yeah, awesome. So going back to these good habits, again, you teach content that's outside of real estate, I believe. I'm seeing you show up on national stages in New York, New Jersey, different parts of the country.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about the content. At some point, we would love the opportunity to have you come to Portland. I know agents would benefit from what you're sharing. But if you give us like a bit of a teaser as to why you're getting 300 people at an event, coming in, paying to hear you speak.
I don't know.
There's where the humility comes in. I love it.
Yeah. So here's what I'm speaking on right now. And I go for the things that give me energy and the things I'm passionate about. And it goes back to that question of, why did you get into real estate to begin with? And along the way, we get caught up in these tasks of doing the job of real estate, and we lose sight of our big goals and dreams and aspirations. And there's one of the conversations that you and I had, Justin, where we're talking about this topic, and there's a lot of classes out there, and they're not, I don't mean this as saying that they're bad classes. They're great classes. They're amazing classes with amazing instructors, And they had this sizzle factor of here's how you take 10 listings a month for life. And we go to classes like this because it sounds cool and we want that. And there's a why behind why we want that. And if we're not in alignment with that why and our purpose and why we got into real estate and what our long-term goals are in real estate, we'll go to a class, we'll get excited, we'll get entertained. We might take action for a little while, and that's not sustainable. So what I'm speaking on right now is getting back in alignment with our purpose and our passion so we can have a foundation of sustainable success.
I love it. I do remember this conversation, I believe, that we were talking about, is that so many people are chopping at the branches, right? And I'm kind of taking a quote I believe I read from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yep. While many are chopping at the branches, he who chops at the root, right, is the one that wins. And those are some of my words put in there. Yep. But what I understand about what you're teaching is that, yes, it's important to know the tactics and specific strategies of how to build a real estate business. Mm-hmm. But if you go deeper as to find out, why would you want to grow a big business? Why would you want to have more production? Why would you want to have quality of life? What would you do with it? And does the benefit of that outweigh the pain that it's going to take to get there, right? There's going to be sacrifice and work in anything good. And if you can't have something that's desirable enough that you're going to be willing to sacrifice and pay a price for it,
yep.
None of those tactics are going to be implemented anyway, because as soon as it gets hard, you're going to tap out and say, I'm good.
Yeah, well, it's I didn't get all this gray hair by it being easy, right? And that's the thing. We're building businesses, and we have to have something it's a powerful reason for us to push through some of these walls or these ceilings that aren't fun, that keep us up at night. It has to be something that's purposeful and passionate, that we get through that. I go back to, there's a quote I heard that says, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And so if we're winning and we're closing all these transactions and we're not living the life that we want to have, it's not going to be fulfilling. We're not going to be happy. We're going to be burnt out. And so it's getting back in alignment with that is really what this class is about, what I'm teaching on. So yeah, I don't know. It's something I'm passionate about. It's something I freaking love. So.
Well, it's interesting. At times agents will talk to me about content. They say, Justin, I see you do a lot of content on social media. Yep. How do I know what to say? Should I do what you're doing? And I said, only if you're super passionate about it. Because if you're not, it's going to last about a week. And then you're going to be like, okay, I'm tired of this. Like, you've got to find something that you absolutely fires you up, because that's the only reason you'll do it every day of your life, right? And that's the only way you'll get good at it. And people will be able to feel that energy transfer coming from you, being like, man, I'm sold on this because I can feel it coming from him, right?
Well, it's funny because I was a team leader for Keller Williams for 10 years approximately, and it was one of the most rewarding, gratifying careers that I could have chosen. I just hit a point where I was comfortable in that role. I was not happy in that role. I was comfortable with the lifestyle provided, and I lost kind of sight of my vision. So a lot of this class I'm teaching is the last 24 months for me. I don't mean this as sounding arrogant or anything like that. I gave up a lot of income over the last 24 months to make some of these transitions. And what's been fascinating to me, so just even the step of stepping out of the team leader role to doing the next thing, I gave up $100,000 a year of income. And what I got out of that was my time back. And then I made another change, which I gave up another $150,000 a year of income, guaranteed. And so I've taken all these risks to get more in alignment with who I am and what gets me excited. And what's funny is I've replaced every single dollar that I gave up and then some. And I'm having more fun. I'm enjoying what I do on a daily basis. I think I'm more pleasant to be around. And it's fulfilling. It's gratifying. And it's a good reminder that when we get in alignment with who we are and what we're wired to be, some pretty amazing stuff can happen.
So you step back from $250,000 a year, and I say step back from because then you stepped into it, and the difference is though that this $250,000 you've stepped back into is filled with passion, which coupled with passion, now that number is just getting started, right? You're just scratching the surface.
It's compounding. It went from addition to multiplication, and it's one of those things where everything in your gut tells you, don't do that. You're giving up your security. You're giving up your stability. And you say, I'm not this success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. I'm not fulfilled over here. I'm going to take a chance, and you go down this route and you watch it get rewarded. And wow, I have more time. I'm having more fun. I'm surrounding myself with people that I get energy from. You go from addition to multiplication. This is just, I'm 18 to 24 months into this transition, and we're only just beginning.
That's awesome, man. Super excited for you and for everybody whose lives you're going to be touching. That this passion, this energy that you're feeling, and the expertise that you bring to the table after all of these years of success is now going to be poured into a lot more people, right? The more people you can impact, the greater the income that you'll have and satisfaction, like you're saying. So I'm going to step back a little bit. Once people, let's say that they've found their passion is absolutely in real estate, like listing, selling homes. I want to go into a little bit more weeds to offer our viewers, since this is a specific real estate community. Tell us, like, if you were to go back in time, knowing what you know now, and which is probably mimics what you tell your agents that are just getting started, right? What's the best advice that you could give to them about being a great realtor?
The best advice I would give to them about being a great realtor is it always has been and always will be a numbers game. So the equations might change. And there's only a certain number of things out of the entire real estate industry. There's only a small amount of things that we actually have control over. We don't have control over our clients. We don't have control over the market. We have control over our activities every single day, and things compound. So what are the things that I could chop away at every single day that are going to get me the results I want, and be really clear on why you want that? Again, going back to why did you get into real estate?
Right.
You got in here for goals. You wanted to have the freedom of your time, the unlimited income opportunity. And a lot of people, it used to be, I watched Carlton Sheets infomercials in the middle of the night on how to buy homes with no money down. Now it's I watch Flip or Flop or Fixer Upper or something like that. There's a lot of this stuff that seems really cool. What I'm hearing most people say is they want to create wealth. So they can have a life that they have designed and that they are in control of, and that they can have the freedom that they wanted. What does that look like? Does it mean that I make $100,000 a year in passive income? Okay, then we got to reverse engineer that down to how many properties do I have to have at what cash return in order to get that? So how much money do I have to make, and how many properties do I need to buy over this period of time? Map it out. We can break it down to say every call that I make is worth a certain amount of dollars. I'm not an analytical guy. I don't enjoy crunching numbers. However, when I can break down the math to show a clear path to winning, because that's the thing that I am, I'm super competitive. If I can break it down and show a clear path to winning, all of a sudden the numbers get cool.
So the numbers that you are focusing on, at least at first, are the activities. You're like, don't worry about the results will come.
Yeah.
Focus on the activities.
But when I first got into real estate, the thing that I would do is I get my commission demand on a property that I put in escrow. I would look at it just to make sure it was accurate, and I put it in a file, and I wouldn't touch it. I would get back to my activities, because what would happen, I knew my behavior. I would look at it and go, oh my gosh, there's $8,000. That's $8,000. I can make $8,000 in 1 month as a brand new licensee. This is amazing. And then I would start in my brain, start figuring out, where am I going to spend that $8,000? Right? And then now I'm babysitting that $8,000. And this is kind of, sounds like maybe basic stuff. However, it's how do I compete with my mind? I'm going to put this away, so I'm not focused on how do I babysit that $8,000. I'm going to shift it, so I'm focusing on how do I generate more $8,000, because what happens when that $8,000 goes away and the deal falls out, I've not only lost $8,000, I've lost everything that I've spent that money in my brain on. And so it's a double negative. If I'm focused on the activities, I'm going to get more $8,000 or $10,000 or whatever your average commission is. And if that one falls out, it's not the end of the world. So it's, what do I have control of, and what can I do every single day to start stacking my dominoes so I can have the success that I want 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
Your analogy, this is going to be or your example there, it's going to be a random analogy, but I had some friends that growing up had cows, and they would not name the cows or fall in love with the cows that they were going to butcher, right? Yep. And your analogy right there of the commission check, like, don't fall in love with the commission check.
if I don't, I'm setting myself up for failure. Either I'm going to, that deal's going to fall out, I'm going to lose that money, or I'm not going to be focused on a thing that can create more. The number I'd rather focus on is how many escrow demands do I have in that file on my desk, not how much is on that one.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Great advice, man. So when you're focusing on the activities, then let's go to what's currently working really well for you. And this may be kind of going back to where we started. It sounds like you guys have lead generation that's coming from the internet. Is it what's working the best right now?
So everything, I don't look at, and this is, if you read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, it mentions a specific amount of time to lead generate. What my focus is more along the lines is, what are the results that we're looking for from that time that we lead generate? Is it a certain number of contacts, a certain number of appointments? So as a team leader running a market center, my goal was to book 3 appointments per day. If it took me 10 minutes or if it took me 4 hours, I didn't care. It was booking 3 appointments per day. As an agent, what is our outcome that we're looking for? Is it to book 1 appointment per day? Is it to make a certain number of contacts? So for us, the place that we're pushing for every single person on the team is to set 1 appointment per day. And we know if they're setting 1 appointment per day, they're going to blow through every other goal that they have. And the thing I like about having the goal being an appointment is we're not just picking up the phone and calling people to have the conversations or make the contacts. We're looking at how can we close this person and have a meaningful, powerful conversation, asking some really great questions to get the appointment.
Because you're saying the statistics prove, and you've recruited a team that's good enough, that if I can get me and my people in front of other people face to face, we're going to win, right? 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, whatever that number is, we're going to win. So that becomes the focus. Get in front of people.
When I was a brand new agent, and I'm sure people, either they are a new agent or they were a new agent at some point in time, and they remember this moment when they went on a listing presentation against the #1 agent in their market, and they won that listing. And they made it felt actually kind of easy that they beat out this #1 agent in their marketplace. And so I did this a few times, and I went, gosh, it doesn't seem like it's a fair competition. I don't mean that as an arrogance thing. My aha in it was, I'm just not getting to the table as often as they are. Mm-hmm. So if I can figure out a way to get to the table as often as they are, I'm going to outperform them. Right? And so it goes back to what you were saying, is how can I get them to the table more often? Because if we train them right, if they have the desire to succeed, they're in line with where they're going, there's not much that can stop them when they're at the table.
Right. It's interesting you say that. It brings to mind a conversation we were having offline actually about right? I mean, he charges a lot per hour. And as I've listened to his content, don't get me wrong, it's dang good. But it's not like 100,000 times better than my content or your content, right?
Is it 10x times better?
What's that?
Is it 10x times better?
It's probably 10x better, but no more. But no more than that. But the thought is that he just simply has, he's done it enough and he has more repetitions, right? So because he's done enough content and he's well known enough around the world that the demand increases for him. Mm-hmm. Therefore, he can charge more. And so I see a similar parallel with what you're saying here, is that these agents that are selling when you're a new agent, 100 times more properties than you are. It's not because they're 100 times better. It's just because they're better at getting in front of people. They have more opportunities at the table, right? So your focus then with your team is get to the table more often. How do we do that? How do we hack that system?
Well, I was at Mega Camp, and they had one of our top agents calling on expireds from the stage in front of all these people. They bleeped out the person's name on the other end of the phone. And I watched this person rumble, bumble, and fumble their way through some of these calls.
Interesting.
I'm sure part of it was because they were on stage in front of 5,000 and doing this. But the other part is, I looked at this person, I said, there's really no difference between me and this person. The only difference is they're making their calls and I'm not.
Yeah.
right? So it goes back to activities. And so one of the things I love about Grant Cardone is he shifted the perspective to say, most people, like his big thing is email and social media, and he blasts out an email, and then we send out an email and we get 3 spam notifications. And we go, oh my gosh, we don't want to bother people.
Yeah.
And his thing is, for every 1 spam notification, 100 people read my email. Let's crank it up and send another one out right now.
Right.
And so it's just shifting that perspective because, yeah, we're going to get some people to complain about things. We're going to get somebody that hangs up the phone on us. Mm-hmm. And if we let that hold us back from what we really want, we're not going to win. We got to get to the table more often. We got to get in front of more people. When that pressure comes in to knock us off our game, we just got to turn it up.
So these false narratives that we fill in the gaps with, right? When we take a call, someone's mad at us. Hey, don't call back. Hey, enough. I'm happy with my provider. I already got a realtor. Like, back up, right? All of a sudden now we take that tape and we replay it every time we go to pick up the phone, every time we go to reach out to someone in our sphere or cold market. And we think this person must feel just like that person. The reality was that person was having a terrible day, like their dog died or they lost their job or something, right? They were PO'd about that, not about us. But we assume that everybody in the world is PO'd about us calling them, so we don't call, right?
Even if they are PO'd about us, it's just one person.
Exactly. Yep.
And how dare we assume what other people are thinking? Mm-hmm. This is what separates the top producers from the not top producers. Is the top producers have figured out a way to rewire it in their brain so they can compete against themselves and not let their brain talk them out of doing what they need to do in order to get what they want.
Yeah, because the magic isn't that you've got some uber talented person. The magic is that they're just up quicker, back doing the activities for a longer period of time, doing more of them.
Yep, and I'm living proof.
Right. No, I hear you. Same. Great stuff, man. I know we have some time constraints, so I just want to say thank you on behalf of the Rec Room and Real Estate Connect here in the Portland area. I'm excited to really get feedback from all of our viewers, and I'm looking forward to finding a time to get you and your class, You Fueled, up here in front of the Portland marketplace, because I know it's going to have a massive impact on a lot of people's lives. So anyway, thank you for everything that you've done for me, and I look forward to staying in touch, my friend. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you. Really appreciate the opportunity.
You bet, buddy. Talk to you soon.